Welcome to this demonstration video. I'm here to tell you about Wordvote, which you can use in combination with the Wordpad 2 response handsets, and how it provides an easy way to get feedback from your audience. So whether that's in a conference, a lecture hall, or in a school assembly. You can use the Wordpad 2s with a small group or with up to 250 participants. Wordvote offers a number of benefits over kind of other voting systems, and they're called, and also how you might use the Wordpad 2s with our word wall activity maker for those of you who are familiar with it. First of all, you can create a quiz or a survey composed of a variety of different question types, and participants can answer at their own pace, moving through the questions on their handset screen. Secondly, you can kind of attach these questions to PowerPoint slides, so they link up with what's going on during your presentation, and you can make the questions available as you move through the slides on the data projector. And third, it's really easy to use. There are only about 5 buttons to learn, and it takes about 5 minutes to get to grips with. So let me show you how. So here's the Wordvote widget. You don't have to run it over PowerPoint, but for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to go with that. And what you can see on this PowerPoint is there are 3 slides. I put it together, and I was going to use it to do an evaluation of our own software. So we can see we've got no information on slide 1, we've got a couple of questions on slide 2, and then we've got a couple more questions on slide 3. Now, you've got various buttons on the Wordvote toolbar here. We've got play symbol, which is currently greyed out because first of all, I haven't actually inserted the receiver, so I'm going to plug in a little USB receiver into a USB port. We've got open and save, which opens and saves the data files. We've then got a participants screen there. We've got a questions screen, and we've got a results screen as well. But obviously, we don't have any results yet. So pretty straightforward. The first thing I'm going to do is I could import my participants. Now, I could import a spreadsheet with a list of names, or I could keep it anonymous, which is a default. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to get my participants to type in their names when they turn on the handset. So I'm going to select text entry, and that's that done, really. Then I'm going to put in the questions into my question bank. So if I look at my first slide here, we can see the very first question asks our participants to rate on a scale how they'd evaluate our software. So what I'm going to do, these are the 8 different question types, and we can put these in series. So multiple choice is fairly as you might expect. Text entry, so 3 text answers that they can type in using the Wordpad 2 keyboard. Number scale is what we're about to use here, so on 1 to 5, how strongly do you feel? Checklist, so check all that apply. Accepted answer, so we could say what type of fruit is a cox, and people might type in apple or apples, and they would be assigned marks on that basis. People can put in numbers using the blue keys on the Wordpad 2 handsets. They can rank a number of items in order of importance, perhaps. And there's also README, which is something that just puts a message up on the screen. So what I'm going to do actually for slide 1, I think I'll start here actually. I'm going to put just a README screen on the first one. And I'm just going to say the purpose of this survey is to collect information for a school to use in deciding to buy the Wordpad 2 handsets. So that tells them a little bit about it, like so. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I want to attach that question to a PowerPoint slide because I want it to appear with the first slide we've got here. So I can select slide 1 from my list, and that's where our first information slide is going to appear. So I click on done, then and it adds it to that list. Now what I want to do is I want to add another question, or first of our questions proper, and this is a number scale as we mentioned before. So this time, where 1 is not useful at all and 5 is very useful, how would you rate the WordWall software? So that's my question, but my scale starts at 1, so I want to put that in there like so, and then I'm going to attach that to a PowerPoint slide, and I'm going to attach that to slide 2, and there we go. Now I want to add a third question. So which is the feature that most appealed to you with the WordVote software? That's a text answer, so I'm going to select text answer. So I'm just going to shorten the question. on the handset, like so. What was your favourite feature? And I'm happy for them just to put in one idea because it's a favourite feature, and I'm going to add that. And that's our second question on slide 2. So there we go. Now, slide 3, our final slide, if we look at this, would you use the Wordpad handsets in your lessons? That's a kind of a binary, a sort of multiple choice question, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select multiple choice. Would you use the Wordpad 2 handsets? Now, this isn't a question that we would want to assign marks to, but we can assign marks, and we can assign different marks. So one answer might be worth 2 marks, one worth 1 mark. And we only want them to select one answer. So I'm going to add that to the list, but first of all I'm going to attach it, and that is going to be our first question on slide 3. And now finally I'm going to add our last question. And this is, what are the benefits and drawbacks of using the Wordpad 2 handsets? Now that again is a text question. So what would be one benefit and one drawback of using the Wordpad 2 handsets? Now what I might ask them to do is to put them in separate text messages. So I'm actually going to say they can put 2 texts. They can do one benefit and one drawback in separate messages. And I'm going to attach that to slide 3 like so. And now we've got all of our questions set up, so it's pretty quick to do. And so we've got our questions, we've got our receiver plugged in, so we can now run and we can start collecting our results. So what I'm going to do first of all, I'm going to get our slideshow running. So we start on slide 1, and I'm going to click on the play button, and we're going to start collecting those results. Now, if I press a key on a handset, you won't be able to see this, but I'll guide you through it. First of all, it's asking me to type in my forename and my surname. So I'm going to type in a couple of names, and then I'm going to press the blue submit key in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen to register those names. And what you can see up on here, we know we've got 5 questions, and we've now got 2 participants because those handsets have been turned on. And when I click on the start key in the bottom right, it comes up with that README message explaining what the purpose of the survey is. So while I'm talking, that appears on the screen. Now when I click on the screen, it takes me to slide 2, and the screen updates. And now first of all it's showing us its rate on a scale, and it's saying this is question 1 of 2. So I can pick on the scale where I wish that to go. And when I press the submit key on one handset, it takes me on to question 2. But on the first handset, I'm still on question 1. So we're moving at our own pace through the questions that have been assigned to this slide. So I'm going to type in my answers, like so. So we've got a few answers on there. And another favourite feature. Okay, so I've typed in those answers. And when I press submit, it tells me that I've completed that section, so that's great. Now I can move on to question 2. So now we're being asked a multiple choice question, and then for the second question we can type in a benefit or a drawback. So we've got now our different answers in there, like so. And what then happens is we've finished our presentation, it ends, and we can then stop collecting results. So I click on the stop symbol, and by then clicking on the graph key, we can then look at the results. So we can see all of the different results that we put in here. So for something like this, a table view is more appropriate. What's your favourite feature? Similarly, perhaps, would you know, if I was looking at this very first question that we've got here, where 1 is useful and 5 is very useful, how would you rate the Wordvote software? So we can see a little graph there. And if we want to, we can click on the maximise and restore, and that will put our graph up there full screen. So you can review the results with your group, and when you're done, if you press on the export key, it will then take those results and it will then export them into Excel, where we can take them and we can analyse them later. And potentially as well, we could track that data over several sessions. So hopefully that's given you an idea about how to use Wordvote together with PowerPoint. If you've got any more questions about the software or want to have a look at the Wordpad 2 handsets, take a look at our website, which is wordvote.co.uk. Thanks for listening.